MGS5 is a great game. A huge open world to explore, base management, weapon upgrades, cool buddies to take out on missions, and an epic cinematic storyline, even if it is unpolished compared to the others in the series, and just quite a few interesting missions to tackle with plenty of variations on how we complete them. All in the name of driving the war economy and earning that GMP, and trying not to spend it all at once.
Wait a minute, that thing costs a lot of money!
You are broke.
MGS5 is really that game, but after countless hours of playing and mastering the checklist on all the missions and pretty much upgrading everything possible, the game starts to get a little bit barren. But I often find myself daydreaming about the good old days where you can actually play with a friend.
The good old days.
You like that, huh? Not a bad shot. I taught you well there, buddy.
Yes, I'm talking about a time when you and a friend or even a stranger could get involved in some co-op action in some top specialised missions, awaiting two or more to engage in one of the greatest elements that exists in the MGS universe, some made possible by Konami and Kojima Productions, as we've seen in the beloved MGS Peace Walker, first introduced onto the PSP. But along the way, great fans and programmers have made the impossible possible for games in the series not intended to be this way. Well, MGS5, a game often missing something aside from missing limbs, is a true phantom pain of content removed from the final product. One of those was a co-op function. Yes, that's right, coding for the mode exists inside the game's files, as well as side ops which had the option for such activities. This was completely scrapped, but the developing team did confirm that it was in development at one point. As we know, it was later reused for Survive. However, the good news is someone has taken the initiative to make it possible. A person known by Unknown321 is behind the epic project, allowing us to engage with MGS5 with a new take, albeit in its earliest forms, as there's still a lot to fix and patch. With that being said, this function is more than playable and doesn't affect the performance when playing and runs very smoothly without any bugs, really, for the most part. Anyway, I'm going to tell you guys how to get this set up. Bear in mind this is for PC users specifically, Windows and Linux, but for Linux users I can't help you with that because I don't use Linux, but there are instructions on the link I will leave for you to get set up if you are. So let's get to setting up. So first go to GitHub on the link down below, an Unknown321's page, and scroll down and click on Latest. From there you want to click and download Dynamite Windows AMD 64. Be sure to save it somewhere you're familiar with. Now open Steam, go to your library, find MGS5 the Phantom Pain, click on the cog setting icon, go to Manage, then click on Browse Local Files. That then will open the File Explorer page, open a new tab, and drag and drop the Dynamite application window into the main directory of MGS5 like so. Now in this application, right click and run as administrator and you'll get a Windows Defender warning. Just click more and allow it on your PC. A console command page will now open, just allow it to run and at any point do not click off it whilst using this function and leave it to run. Then a web page should open with all the details and settings to make co-op possible. At the top of the page you'll get something called configuration mode or co-op, which allows you to play either as a host or the client connecting to the host. First I'll show you how to set up being a host. If you are the host, the box will always be ticked in blue. Blacklist is to add unwanted users joining your game. Whitelist allows you to add your friends who can connect to your server. One simply just needs to add their friends or whoever's Steam ID to the desired list. And to get your friend's Steam ID, if you didn't know how, just go onto Steam, find your friend's profile, and above their name should be a web search bar with their Steam ID. You simply just need to copy and paste it in the designated area. Then you have Dynamite, and sometimes the main directory page is empty, and if so, you won't be able to proceed if you don't place your valid user data within. To do this, go into File Explorer, Windows C, Program Files 86, Steam, click on User Data, then go up to the web bar. Click here and you should be able to copy this text into the main directory. As for everything else, you can just ignore it. Leave everything as it is and proceed to scroll to the bottom right hand of the screen and save configuration. It will save and install the necessary details before allowing you to directly boot the Phantom Pain from this page. I'm quite sure you don't have to do this process every time unless you're switching between a host or a client. You can just boot the game from Steam. So if you want to play as the client connecting to your friend, uncheck the host box in co-op and enter the host Steam ID as I mentioned earlier to connect to them. Once you do that, ignore everything else and scroll to the bottom right hand of the screen and save. Allow it to install as before and boot up the game from the page. It's worth noting before we continue that this co-op feature gets updated periodically at any time. Usually the web page indicates this, and you won't be able to connect once you've saved your configuration unless you have updated. All you have to do is what I've instructed at the start of the video. Go back to GitHub, download Dynamite.exe and place it in the main directory of MGS5. These updates usually fix any bugs and problems the game faces, as well as including brand new missions to play. So now I'm going to show you how being a host and client works in tandem to ensure you can play. So if you're the host, you'll be in the ACC now. You can pick any mission you desire, although it is advised to stick to the list of missions Unknown321 has made available, and you can check this on his GitHub page. They work, but they can come with issues in mission, but there are clear instructions for how you and your friend can work around it. So say you booted the mission Over the Fence as the host. You wait until you touch the ground and you see the prompt, Created Host Session. It's advised you or a friend have a headset, of course, which just makes the game more immersive like you're on an important mission, but also has a direct channel like Discord or Steam in order to communicate, which is absolutely essential for the client to connect to the host. Once the host is in the game, you tell your buddy, the client, who is waiting in the ACC, yes, if you're the client, don't do anything until the host commands it. The client connecting to the host has to use master key to connect to the host. To do this, you hold V on the keyboard and the up arrow together. You'll know when you've connected because you'll see the text saying Establishing Co-op Connection. From there, select the same mission as the host and pick your desired loadout. Make sure that you and your friend pick the same landing zone as you don't want to be trying to find each other. Sadly, there's no cool animation to see your friends arriving by chopper. They just mysteriously appear. The co-op functionality is very similar to MGO3 Online. You can mark your friend and it places a green Diamond Dogs logo to indicate a friendly. The cool thing about this co-op feature is you can attack each other in various ways, including using CQC, guns, grenades, you name it, which is almost like playing online in a deathmatch, but with a more open, expansive world. If you had a few pals, you could probably have an epic team deathmatch. I'm not certain on how many you can connect, but that's for you popular guys with many friends to try. So uncertain which direction this co-op feature is going to take place. I doubt it's probably going to get anywhere, but I'd love to see this get expanded upon by these developers with a little support from us guys. Imagine playing Metal Gear Solid 5 Battle Royale mode where the circle gets smaller and smaller, very similar to Metal Gear Solid 4 Online. That would be epic. Because what Unknown321 has essentially created is something that was originally meant to be in the game, so hopefully it does take off. And oh yeah, I wouldn't recommend trying to Fulton each other because unlike taking each other out, that just allows you to respawn via wormhole. The Fulton makes the mission come to an end, which makes sense because the game thinks the horse is leaving the game, very similar to when you use a container to leave the mission. However, the Fulton function does work on soldiers. The client or the host can send people back to their own bases, very similar to MGS Peace Walker. On our playthrough, we noticed some hilarious things. Whilst playing Phantom Limbs, both the host and the clients experienced their own personal cutscene, if you will. However, my buddy beat me to it and was waiting on me. You could say he made the tutorial section problematic. I couldn't see my scope because I was ripped off my horse. Whilst we all argued who was the real big boss, we came to the conclusion Zero had more than one body double in mind but wasn't counting on both of us to show up. You could say I was soft locked in place to my bud who had to move me to a decent location because there's no way I could place a marker on the outpost to progress. I don't think Ocelot was aware what was happening around him.
can't have much left in him. I give him 3 days tops.
Literally, my character
We
just
fail.
perched on top of the
He
hole,
dies.
like, you know what
We lose our chance of revenge.
So on our journey to rescue Miller, we both challenged each other. We determined that a race to Kaz, and whoever gets there first, would be the real big boss. However, we scrapped the idea because it really wasn't fair. My buddy was playing with a save that was barely 3% in completion, which means he had limited items and weapons, and he couldn't run very fast because he hadn't fully upgraded his bionic arm. Not to mention he was so low in GMP, he could barely afford a water gun. I recommended he should try what governments do where he could borrow GMP from foreign countries. The only trouble is that it'll still land him within debt. It feels so good playing co-op with a friend. You can experience the simulation in real time. Whenever the sun's rising or setting. You can't use the phantom cigar, but then again, it makes a lot of sense. Cigars don't exactly speed up time, right? But honestly, it makes sense because the game would bug out. Since me and Mr. Meh, check out his channel, can't really take anything seriously, including an important stealth mission such as rescuing Kaz, to think the whole mission depends on us making sure that his sunglasses return, otherwise he'd probably just want us to put him out of his misery there and then. Time paradoxes aside, we didn't exactly go into it stealthily, we had to make an entrance, so I bombed this place and we charged right in, guns blazing. But for some reason my bud got trapped and he couldn't move, so I had to CQC him all the way to Kaz. Seems like a bit of karma from earlier on, right? Looking confused and puzzled, Kaz probably thought he was dreaming and didn't care who the real big boss was, but was glad to be rescued.
Smell like.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer. What was it all for? The dignity I've lost. Every night, I still remember Big Boss's dick in my face.
A solid snake.
Whilst talking to my buddy, he told me he was carrying his own version of Kaz. I mean, I couldn't see him carrying Kaz, but then again he couldn't see me carrying Kaz neither, which is a bit of a bug at the point using this function, but hopefully that will be patched so there can only be one Kaz. Running to the LZ, the skulls appear, although we unfortunately couldn't fight them together. Although this is something that could be fixed later, it's funny because I could see my bud getting attacked, but the skulls were invisible on my end, so it was just hilarious watching him fighting an invisible ghost.
Oh! Was it? that was easy. They're coming back. Oh, they're coming back. Ah.
Leaving the mission area in the chopper, whoever it is, after you completed the mission, takes you both out of the game. And before you ask, sadly, no, both of you can't get in the helicopter, only your own. So next, we played Red Brass, where you have to take out 3 commanders. Little did we know, because we didn't read the dev's warning, they remained stationary in their bases rather than meeting up. The original plan was to hop into a vehicle together, which I don't know why we thought of that, you could never do it anyway, and not even online, but sadly if you knock your buddy out you can't even place them within transport, so travelling together is not possible, and that was our only gripe with this. It's not like you couldn't use vehicles on both sides, it's just once you step inside one or use D-Horse or Gear Walker, you and your friend vanishes from the screen sometimes, or the vehicle goes ghost and there's just a character floating around on the screen. What appeared to be a 2-hour mission that usually takes 5 minutes was, as I stated earlier, the commanders don't move. I was hoping I could show my friend the horse poop trick to spin one of the commanders off his trail. We both managed to eliminate 2 commanders but realised the last one was miles away, so we tried the delivery points to fast travel. Whilst it does work, you just get stuck in a loading screen. Also, another neat feature is when a friend drops a supply drop, you can also resupply your equipment, as well as your partner who's just dropped them. So we decided to move on to occupational forces. My friend had no missile launcher, but thankfully I had anti-tank missiles at hand, and he used his C4s. All of this whilst I blew up a tank to keep them busy, as well as the truck carrying the Soviet commander. The final truck, my friend tried to use his C4s to take out the last tank, but he said he couldn't see it on his screen, and then it finally appeared. but too late for him as his C4s really just caught the back end of the tank. I hit it with a missile, and my friend pretended to be Solid Snake, throwing grenades at it. We wanted to play more missions, but sadly my friend hasn't completed all the missions of MGS5 on PC. He did for PS4, but you can't exactly transfer the data, so instead we just messed around in a 1v1. All I can say is if you've got a PC and love MGS5 and have at least one person to play with, then trust me, it's worth installing this feature. Because it only takes a few minutes to install. New missions are added nearly every other day, and the dev is actively working on patching anything that's possible to make the co-op experience perfected. So if you're on GitHub, please give Unknown321 as much support as possible, and if you find any bugs, please do report it, as it helps him patch this awesome mod. So after playing for a while, my friend went away and took my saved data files that I sent him. So now he has a 100% completion status, meaning that all the missions including weapons are now available. So if you'd like us to make some videos in the future doing some cooperative challenges, feel free to leave some ideas down below. And hopefully by then I can get my mic working, hence why I've had to run commentary the entire video. As we will definitely be making a return to play this again. Anyway guys, I hope this video has been super useful, so get out there and make some racket. Hoorah! Like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bells for future content. Thanks for watching, and until we meet again.
I might need to go in myself, that's the thing.